Hey, good morning. I'm taking some advice from some of you that said I shouldn't speed up my audio, so you will hear my actual voice. Well, today's an exciting day because I have a special guest, my underpaid, overworked intern. I'm super excited to announce who he is, and I hope he's everything that you dreamt of and more. Please meet my intern, Cassius Cardi. He has been emotionally supporting me since I was 19. He is very underpaid, overworked. But you can tell that he's very happy to be here because he is not completely asleep. You want to say anything? I don't think he has much to say, so I'm going to let him go. He's very busy. Booked and busy, catching flights, chasing the swag, on the grind. Definitely not your average dog. My favorite intern of all time. I hope I don't get canceled online for this, but it needs to be said. As a Gen Zer, I believe strongly that we can't relate to millennials. There are so many reasons why I believe this. Let's start with the quick facts. Millennials try too hard. I feel like they are constantly craving some type of validation. And if you see a millennial, they're probably like wanting to be edgy on TikTok, has like some boring tattoos that they think are super cool, like wears like fedoras and brim hats, like those brim hats from 2010s, like non ironically. Aside from the poor fashion choices, I do think that there are very clear generational differences with millennials. Like they still believe that you can buy a house. Like they still have these delusions that like as long as you work hard and invest and save, that's the quickest way to wealth. And I am going to respectfully disagree. Like with Gen Z, we see how difficult it is to break into any entry level role. Like the political climate is an absolute mess. Like the hoarding of wealth within like the billionaire class, it's very damaging. And I think millennials are in this Delulu era where they're like, no, like as long as you work hard and invest and keep doing the thing, like things are gonna work out. I don't think that's true. So, whenever a millennial, especially online, tries to give you finance advice, don't take it because they are coming from a position of like years of work experience, like a different political climate. I would just caution against taking everything that they say as truth. And there's a lot of YouTubers on here that are very millennial and think that their content translates to Gen Z when it doesn't. So just be careful. I'm going to go over the tips and tricks that I think are most relevant to us. And I hope that listening to that will help kind of relate it back to your life since millennials, my apologies, think that they can relate, but they can't. Like they aspire to get married and have kids and they love a fedora. Okay, I feel like I sound like a millennial hater, and I'm not. Just caveat, I just have been working with millennials for quite some time, and this is what I've observed, and it is not good financial advice. That's all I'm going to say. And I think these three main things are like patterns of behaviors that we should not continue from millennials because if we keep chasing what millennials have quote unquote earned, which they didn't earn because they didn't have a pandemic to go through during their formative work experience time. We're gonna go broke if we pretend that we can be a millennial, and especially in the ways that they're spending money. First and foremost, I think millennials spend way too much time online. Like, I don't understand how someone could be in their 30s or like even 40s and be online. Go hang out with your dog or your child. Like, why are you online? And the weirdest thing is, they're like flexing online about things that pose an actual safety risk for their kids or like their loved ones. Like, you shouldn't be posting pictures of your house or your car or like things of monetary value because that's the quickest way to get robbed. Like it's astonishing to me that millennials really don't think about what they post online. And the worst part is some of them make things so public. And I'm like, why would you do that to yourself? Like, I don't understand how you're unable to recognize that this is an actual like safety risk. Adding on to that, I do feel that millennials try to fill a void. I don't know why they feel so like sad all the time, especially when they have money to not feel sad anymore. But it's truly incredible for me observing how millennials spend money, like spending $1,000, thousands, not thousand, thousands of dollars on vacations. When if you have a friend abroad, just visit them and ask them if you can crash or if they can host you. Like, you shouldn't be spending hundreds to thousands of dollars on renting a cabin. Like, that's such a colonizer way of navigating the world. Like, the beauty of having money is to provide psychological safety. And the way that I've seen millennials spend, it's like they're spending hundreds of dollars on really expensive like dinners that you can make at home. Like, the only difference is an ambiance. Like, I know that there's a whole discourse around third spaces where in America, you don't have as many like communal spaces like neighborhood parks or coffee shops where you can just work out of, because real estate, especially on the high cost of living areas like New York and Los Angeles or San Francisco, like that space is limited. So I understand that constraint. However, millennials will pay so much money to just have an experience. Do you know what you should have? Sorry, my Korean was gonna come out. You should have friends. That if you have friends, you do not need to be paying money to go into clubs, events, etc. You can host your own events. You can meet people who host events. You could figure out a way that you can be a part of the event. Like, I think millennials are deluded in the fact that or deluded with the fact that money can give you access to all these things, but that's not true. Like, you were then just becoming a consumer, you're becoming a fan, you're not actually building some type of like community that you don't have to continue putting money into to be a part of. It's so sad. I'm like, like after a certain net worth, like you would assume that people would want to stop chasing clout and wanting to spend so much money to feel something. But if anything, if we follow how millennials are spending money, we're gonna go broke. And let's not do that. Like, let's stop that generational pattern of behavior and choose not to spend recklessly. If you want to do something cute, if you want to do like a little DIY moment that you want to post so desperately online, do it with your friends. Don't pay like $100 to do something that you can do at home with friends. Okay, I don't know why the audio cut out for the last part, but pretty much if you can do it for free or you can do it with your friends, don't pay for experiences. Such a waste of money. The last thing that I hate so far about how millennials are spending money is they buy anything in the name of self care. Self care is not consumerism. Repeat after me: self care is not consumerism. What that means is what we see millennials doing online is self soothing. It's a very clear response to a bad day or a shift in mood or, this impulse to satiate yourself because something just doesn't feel right. Like, it's a very instant gratification that you don't need to partake in, because long term self care is an ability to love yourself in the things that you do, what you say, who you spend your time with, like the ways that you think, all these different things that come from inside, not something that can be validated externally. Like, it truly has to come from a place of you love yourself so deeply, truly, that you don't need objects to fill a void. And millennials love doing that. And it's not a good example for us to follow. Like, we need to be able to look at ourselves. Like, in that discomfort acknowledge what is causing that type of like fixation with needing to buy something, so we don't end up being broke like a lot of millennials. Like I believe they have some of the highest credit card debt of all time. And even with the ones who make over six figures, like they're constantly in this cycle of have to make money, gonna spend that money, back in credit card debt, all these like things that keep happening because of this hamster wheel of consumerism that millennials keep promoting amongst themselves, by like social media, etc. But man, like we don't want to be like them. Like let us just acknowledge that we want to succeed and thrive, and we don't want to continue filling a void that can't be filled with objects. Consumerism needs to end with the millennial generation. Like I hate how often Gen Zers, including myself, are subject to all these different advertisements and like these inundations of like celebrity culture and ad dollars and all these sales tactics that are very devious. So if there's anything you take away from this video, don't buy things to feel something. I know that's a very difficult pattern to break, especially if you live in America, but if you feel sad, go outside. Literally just go outside or close your eyes if you're inside and just think about a happy thought. You don't need to spend $100 or $1,000 or $10,000 to feel something.